One of the more important things you want to know when trying to repair a problem is what caused that problem in the first place. We're going to be talking about how do we keep breaking the connection with our wife. These are some common ways that we, as just through our day, unintentionally create disconnection with our wife, with our family, with anybody around us. But these are mainly focusing on our wife. And we're going to be talking about that this week on episode number 228 of The Relaxed Male. This is The Relaxed Male, a show that comes to you each week helping men to remove the nice guy from their life so they can actually live their life on their terms. Join the host, certified coach Brian Goodwin, as he helps men step out of their heads and become free from the thoughts that bind them. Hey man, hello and welcome to Relaxed Male. I'm your host, Brian. I'm a certified men's coach who assists men who are just neck deep in the suffering of their lives. Men who are just going through things like divorce or struggles in their job. We have these problems. We have issues that come up from time to time. And a lot of times the roadblocks that we see are roadblocks only because that's what we view them as. That's what we think of them as. And I go in and I help men examine what their thoughts are and change those thoughts, just tweak them just a little bit so that all of a sudden that big old scary wall is actually a sidewalk and it's just as smooth as can be. And it's a great way of being able to go through life to see that the scary stuff isn't all that scary. It's actually a really good option to look at. And so this is kind of what we're doing this week. We're actually talking about ways that we get in our own way when we're wanting to reconnect with our wife. We have a connection that we're working on, but yet for some reason it still doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. And a lot of times it's because we do things to repair the connection, reestablish a connection, to reconnect with our wife. And then just 5 seconds later, we turn around and we end up just severing, undoing all the work that we just done. And so the reason that we keep doing this is because, again, we live our life through a very unintentional way of living. And to actually open up and start examining and paying attention to what your thoughts are, why you're getting angry at something, getting frustrated at things, these can actually help you get around to being a better husband for your spouse. What's causing this? And because one of the best things to do is when it comes to knowing what you need to fix, you need to know how you wound up in that hole in the first place. And to think that, it's just appeared out from underneath me. I mean, yeah, you can have a sinkhole just crop up, but what caused the sinkhole? There are circumstances that have led to circumstances or events and actions that lead to what we're facing at the moment. And so this is where, if you want to take an action, if you want to change a circumstance, if you want to make a circumstance better, alter it, you got to know what's causing that circumstance. Me and the wife don't have a good connection. Well, that would be a thought about the fact that you and the wife aren't talking. So why is it that you and the wife aren't talking all that much? Well, there's several different aspects about that can actually be a clue. But I do want to, before we jump into here, I do want to point out that what I'm talking about is really easy for you to fall into the victim mindset. All right. I'm not a big fan of the victim mindset. The victim mind is one of no respect, of defeat, of being just an absolute total loser. And I know that you're not a loser. We are we're essentially being in a word or two, cock blocked by our own brain. So don't fall into the victim mindset. When you're going through stuff, you're trying to figure out what the root of the cause is. You're going to want to jump in there and go, well, she's not trying. Well, she started it. She's just, she's frigid, things along these lines. She never liked the marriage to start with. And even if she went off and said something very similar to that, or that very thing to you, to your face, she's just sharing a thought. Because if she actually didn't want to be around you, she would have divorced you. She would not have gotten married to begin with. But yet here she is. She is married. So we want to make up these excuses. We want to play the victim because it is easier. And we're going to talk about playing the victim mindset here a little bit later on. But right now, if you can stand tall and you can fortify yourself and stand to look in the mirror and see, what is it that I have done to cause this marriage to stall? You're going to own that power. You're going to own the ability to make the changes. She doesn't have to change for you. She sees you change. She's going to want to start changing. This is a thing called the law of reciprocity. If you give to her, you don't have to expect anything in return. She can't help herself. She's going to want to return the favor. That's the law of reciprocity. It's also known as the 100-0 principle. And I've got links to that in the show notes. Because whether you believe it or not, whether the feminists in the world want to try to scream and holler about it, you are the leader of your house. You're not the boss. A lot of people get that wrong. You're not the boss of the house. Neither you nor the wife are the boss. You may joke around and call her the boss, but y'all are actually level. Y'all are even with each other. That's the big sense that a lot of folks misunderstand about what marriage is. Yes, you are the head of the household and your wife is the neck, but y'all still are part of the same body. Y'all are part of the same body. So she does actually look to you for guidance, as same as you look to her for direction. But for any of that to work and for it to work well and properly, you do have to have a good trust with each other. And that trust comes with a good connection. So what are some ways that you end up blowing up your relationship with your wife? How do you end up taking any and all connections that you have and throw them out the window? And some of these you may do, some of these you may not. Some of these are going to be you've done at one time or another. I know I have done all of these more than once. And yeah, we struggle with getting our marriages right. Me and my wife, we are still working to make sure that we have a better connection. We struggle to have that better connection. So what are some of the things that I have done that you probably have done too, that has sacrificed your connection? First off, being a know-it-all is a big one. Your wife is, when your wife is talking to you, you've had teenagers. If you've had teenagers, you've heard this. Hey, don't forget to get your clothes off the floor. I know. And you go off and do other things. Stating, I know, like that does not help with connection. It actually is just, it's like, but it's a little nicer way of saying, shut up. I'm doing my own thing. I know does not help any type of situation, but also to go off and try to state how smart you are, even to your wife, because one, she's going to see right through your BS every single time. But when she's talking and you decide to talk over her because you've got a solution or you've got an answer to whatever it is she's doing, that doesn't help either. We want to go back to where our old style of talking, back when we were 5 years old or so. Don't talk. Don't interrupt other people. Don't talk unless it's time for you to talk. These are not hard to do, but when a lot of times, especially folks like me who are, if I don't say what I'm thinking right away, I'm running a chance that I might forget about it, or the impact of what I'm saying won't be as great. That's actually the biggest fear that I have, is that if I don't say it right now, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look like an idiot because I said something, 15 minutes after the topic's already died off and has migrated to a different solution. These are things that we want to worry about, but they're not important. If you want to be able to remember something and without having to interrupt somebody, walk around with a pad of paper and a pen and just go ahead and just write it down. State it on the paper so that when the comment need for comments comes back up, you can actually comment on it. And you may have to say, well, hey, about 30 minutes ago, you said such and such and so, and here's what I think about this. And you can actually reply to stuff in old time. It may seem a little or feel a little weird, but at the same time, you're okay. Allowing your wife to be able to say what she needs to say is the very reason why you want her to reply with the same type of respect. If she's got something to say and you're saying something that really irritates her, she holds her tongue. You would like for her to hold her tongue until you're finished talking, and then she jumps in with whatever her 2 cents are. We both can do this. It's two-sided. One of the person has to start doing it. So why not just go ahead and start it with you? The next thing is, are you being Mr. Fix-It? Trying to fix everything. The big problem with this is that she doesn't want you to fix anything. Unless she says, can you help me fix this? She actually requests a fix. Your wife doesn't want anything fixed. Why she tells you all the details that she's giving you about her day, about her visit with her mom, with whatever's happening in her friend's life, whatever it is, she's not telling it to you so that you can be Superman, go out and save the day. All right? She doesn't care for that. She doesn't want knight in shining armor man. She wants husband. And why women share the details in their life like they do is because that's how they connect. They want to have a connection with their husband. They want to be able to share their life with their husband. And so they share all the little minute, minuscule details that just, you're like going, really? Oh my God. What does this have to do with the price of rice in China? You know, this is all the stuff that we kind of, as guys, we sit there and just kind of, oh God, really? We're talking about this crap again. Yes, because it's important to your wife. If it's important to your wife, it needs to be a little higher level than what it currently is in your mind. Instead of fixing stuff, letting her talk. Instead of fixing stuff, asking questions, getting more details of it will help her actually feel like you're interested in her world, whether you are or not, whether you're interested in her world and that you care. And that's the key point. Do you care about what you're saying? If not, then it's going to shine. It's going to shine through and you're going to appear disingenuous, which is not going to help the connection that you're wanting. You want connection. You want a wife who sees you as somebody who cares about what she's doing. Have that connection so that she can trust you and be able to love you. And if you're running in to rescue her every time she has a little bit of an issue, you're going to cause more trouble than solutions. So stop trying to fix it. It's not about the nail, as that video goes. The nail's not that important. What is important is that you are there and you're sharing her life, or she's sharing her life with you, and you are sharing your life with her. That's why you want to talk more, and we'll be talking more about that here in a moment. Another thing that we do is having your phone out at supper, whether you're out at a restaurant or at the house. We often throw a fit about when our kids want to have the phone out and play around on the phone while we're eating. And many parents, and it irritates me, I'm sure it irritates you too, but you look around and you see little 4 and 5 and 6-year-old kids who they've got a tablet. They're just flipping through it, kind of eating. Yeah, you've dumbified the child. The child doesn't know how to interact with anybody in public unless they've got that tablet in front of them. You're the same way, man. With that tablet, or in the case, most of us have a phone, that little square rectangular box of glass, plastic, and metal is a dopamine machine, man. That thing gives you dopamine and serotonin bumps, just rapid fire. And that is actually not the best thing, because when we're sitting at a supper and we're not having the best conversation, we're just kind of having a, how you doing, yada, yada, yada type of conversation. Our brain starts going, oh, dude, this is boring. Oh my God, what's happening on Facebook? Let's see what's on Facebook. And if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, your hand's going to go down into your pocket, pull the phone out, and before you know it, you're thumbing through Facebook. I've got my wife has a friend who is doing this, except she goes through, not just through Facebook, she thumbs through Facebook, and while everybody else is talking, she's just sitting there thumbing through Facebook, going over to Plenty of Fish or some other dating app, because she's single and she's like, meh, 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 meh. She's shopping or something. She's got to have the phone stuck right in her face. And the only reason I know about it is because my wife complains about it all the time. It's like, gee whiz, don't ever know if she's hearing what we're saying. And she's not a part of the group. She's just sitting there on her side of the table, just thumbing her away. She's going to think the same thing about you if you've always got your phone stuck in your face. All right. There is no room for connection, for love, for respect, for the conversations that grow all that. If you're not looking her in the eyes, if you're not giving her the attention that she needs, if you're not on your phone, you're able to provide more attention, more energy to the whole interaction. If you want to know how to fight the cell phone dopamine, first off, turn it off. When you're going to sit down at a supper table, turn it off. Leave it in the car if you're brave enough. I know there's some places where you can't. You have to leave the windows down and doors open so that people don't come along and just randomly bust the windows. I get that. So you probably don't want to leave anything in the car. But if you can't leave it in the car, turn it off, leave it sitting. You can have it sitting with you if you want, but set it off to the side, face down, so that one, you don't get the screen coming on. It's not going to attract your attention. Two, it's not going to vibrate because it's off. So it's not going to distract you from your wife. Have those conversations with her, talk with her, learn, grow on how to have a good conversation with your wife. It's a talent that you have to regrow if you haven't done it in a long while, but it does come about. So stop having your phone out at supper or whenever you're talking with your wife. Set it face down, off someplace on the opposite side of the room if you're in the same house. It helps you have a better means of connection, a stronger, more pure connection. Now, through the years of marriage, you've been told no when it comes to sex. Many times. More times than you'd really care to count. And her excuses are creative. It's not like you have a bullshit meter that you can state. There's, how do you prove I've got a headache? No, you don't. You can't. So you just kind of have to take the excuse at face value. I have a headache. I mean, I get it. I got told I have a headache so much that I actually just about took my wife to the hospital, thinking that she must have, some type of brain problem going on. Maybe she's got pressure building up, but maybe she's almost fixing to have an aneurysm. I don't want my wife to drop dead. And as I was talking to, trying to find a neurologist, the doctor that I was talking to was like pointed out, it's like, that's a tough thing to hear. There's not really a problem with her headache. She's just trying to avoid having to want to get naked for you. And it's not that she doesn't want sex with you. It's just that she doesn't have a reason to want to have sex with you. When you let intimacy slide, it becomes easier to avoid intimacy. And so through years and years of us being told it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too rainy, it's too sunny, it's too cloudy, I've got a headache, the kids have been on my nerve, I'm too tired, I'm that time of the month, any of the other reasons. Eventually us guys, we kind of stop wanting to ask. We kind of stop. It was not that we stopped wanting to ask. We just stopped asking. I remember 20 years ago, I made the resolution of, you know what? If she wants it, she can ask for it. Not knowing what I know now, that the more you don't have intimacy, the easier it is to not have intimacy. I shot myself in the foot quite expectedly. Now, knowing now what I know now. And one of the problems that we run into is eventually we turn to porn, guys. And porn is just like Facebook in that it is easy to get a dopamine hit, to get what you're wanting. You want to see boobs, you want to see cooter, you want to be able to get your rocks off. Boom. Easy thing to do with porn. It's so easy. Just type in a couple of letters in the search box. Poof, voila, you've got any and all porn available in varying degrees of legality. We want sexual gratification. We would prefer to have our sexual gratification for our wife. And we will go into a tailspin trying to figure out what the problem is. And we always look in the wrong place. Thanks to porn. How do I know? Go to any corner convenience store. And in the cheaper part of town, the more this is more evident. Look and you will see extends. You will see every type of possible sex pill that there is. I'm going to call them a sex pill. I don't know what the hell you'd actually call them, but male enhancement possibilities. Thinking that if where our equipment was just a little bit bigger, maybe that's what she's needing. Maybe I'm just not able to satisfy her. Well, true. You're not satisfying her. You're not satisfying the right part of her. No, it's not. We're wanting to look at our world as if she is a guy, wants sex all the time. No, women don't want sex. If anything, women really don't like sex that much. They do like it. I mean, they will, because they do have it. We're populated. We have a population of, 8 billion people now? That's evident that women do like to have sex, but if they have a choice of getting naked or watching a television show or walking around the block or doing anything else, they kind of will choose the anything else. And it's not because they don't like sex. It's because they don't have the connection with you that they want to have to feel safe enough so that they will get naked for you. And when you are doing porn, when you're watching porn and you're blogging the dolphin, you're getting all that masculine sexual energy out of you. Yeah. It's I think it's something about Mary where one of the characters says, well, you got to beat off so that you don't act like a man so much. You start acting more of a woman. You start relaxing. And there's an element of truth in that because you lose the masculine energy. You stop seeing the flirtations that your wife is doing with you because, hey, you don't need to get your rocks off anymore. You went off and burped the gherkin, it's not a high priority. So it takes your attention away from the need of your wife saying something slightly suggestive to test the waters. Cause she's not going to go straight out and say it. I don't know why we don't talk about sex as much as we can, but for whatever reason we don't. And so we keep missing each other like two ships in the night. One of them is because you're addicted to, well, not addicted. I'm not going to say addicted because there is no addiction in porn. There is no such thing as addiction at all. But you have a habit of using porn instead of turning to your wife and going, hey, baby, you want to go have some fun? Because you would rather, it's easier to not face the no of, I don't feel like it right now. it is easier to not be faced with the pain of knowing that you have not had the connection with your wife you want to have. So instead, it's easier to pull up Debbie Does Dallas or whatever show, whatever movie, whatever clip from that movie you want to sit there and watch. Stay away from the porn. If you want a better connection with your wife, you can drop the porn habit. You have to pay attention to your thoughts, but you can drop the porn habit. If you want to know how, go to relaxmail.com/coaching offer. Altogether one word, and we'll talk from there. Now, another way that we destroy our connection is when we play the victim. If you know anything about me, cannot stand the victim. The victim mindset is a plague upon our society. The victim mindset keeps us playing small. It keeps us from taking strides because we give up and abdicate all our power to somebody who doesn't even realize they have the power over us, and they do their own thing. And then that pisses us off because they're not even trying to take advantage of the fact that they are the lords over our very being. And when it comes to why our wife doesn't have any connection with us, our victim mindset will accentuate that every time, because when you're a victim, you don't earn any respect. You are disrespectable when you are playing the victim. Oh, woe is me. My wife doesn't like sex, doesn't want me, doesn't like anything I do, well, have you tried to change her mind? Have you tried to make a better connection? Because you're not going to try to connect with her when you're feeling like a little weenie. All right. Stop playing the victim. That goes with every man who ever struggled with having a good connection with his wife. They all are playing the victim, one form, fashion, or another. That playing the victim part is why you would rather say, well, she's just frigid, she can't help it. No, it's not that she's frigid. She just doesn't have the connection that she needs to be able to have sex with you. Another thing that will destroy a connection is when y'all are talking and you don't believe what she's saying. She starts describing an event, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, really? He would do that? I don't know if he would do it like that. You start arguing with her as to what she says. Now, I'm not saying it's to never argue with your wife. There's nothing wrong with having a discussion with your wife. But when it comes to, especially when she is talking about how she's feeling, dismissing that is one of the biggest, not the biggest, but it's one of the biggest reasons that we have disconnection in our marriages. I don't see it that way. I don't see how that's possible. Well, it's possible. It happens. It's the way it goes. All right. Not believing what she says, dismissing her emotions, her feelings, her experiences out, sight unseen, says that you do not give a rip about her. One of the ways you can reverse that is using the 4 pillars of effective communication. And that is a means that is put together by emotionally focused therapists, like Tony Overbay of the Virtual Couch. He talks about what the effective communication, how to have effective communication. And that is the 4 pillars for effective communication is to assume good connections. So assume that your wife did not wake up to go off and just completely piss you off right off the bat. All right. That was not her goal when she woke up. She did not wake up going, I'm going to piss him off today. No, don't send the message again. Goes with what I was just saying. This is the key point. Don't send the message that you're wrong or I don't believe you. Even if you think the other person is wrong and that you don't believe them, don't state it out loud. Stay present, lean into what they're saying, and ask questions, and ask more questions way before you ever decide to make a comment. Seek first to understand before being understood. When you can get that little habit down, you'll make your communications a lot stronger. You'll have a better connection with your wife. Another deal is event that happens is when you start becoming just apathetic, when you don't give a crap, when you get to this point, you're way deep in the possibility that your marriage is going to fall apart. And it's just one of those sad parts that sometimes it happens. Sometimes people just realize a little too late in life, but you can turn your response, your actions to the circumstance. You can change that around. You can stop being apathetic. You can stop with the apathy that it's not even worth trying. You can start trying. Well, let's reverse everything. Possible. But if you start seeing that you're not caring about what it is your wife is doing, another thing to not do is stop letting date night slide. All right. Yeah. Life's going to happen. There's going to be times that Friday night, date night is just going to have to be put on hold. Wife's sick. You're sick. Kid's sick. Babysitters are sick. People get sick. You have something that you have to do in another town. There's going to be times when date night can't happen, but change that as soon as you can when you get back home. Make sure that next following Friday night, you get something date night wise, whether it's a stroll in the park. Maybe y'all have gotten too much going on, not enough money coming in, so you can't afford a big lavish supper. Just go out and at least go walk, hold hands, reconnect. That's what's some of the more important items. Being vague. Your wife wants to connect with you. She wants to be a part of your life. She wants to be a part of your world. And she wants to know what your day partook in. So to do that, you've got to give more details. You've got to stop being vague about what's going on. When you're being vague in your answers, you're being secretive to her. And a woman who gets worried about her man being secretive, she's going to think the worst is about to happen. That you're running around on her or what, and that you're getting ready to go. So she's going to start pulling away, all because you didn't go into detail. Stop being vague. Another one is stop manipulating your emotions. Nice guys, this is about you. All right. I am pointing my big old fat finger right in your face on this one. Stop trying to manipulate her emotions. Yeah. You don't like that she's angry at you. Build a bridge, get over it. She's not going to like it even more if you try to manipulate her emotions. If you try to make her happy, you try to tell her, oh, there's nothing to worry about. Well, you're invalidating her emotions. Again, you're being apathetic. You have to stop trying to invalidate what she's feeling. If she's angry, she's upset, she's sad, she's whatever, accept that. Accept that that's how she's going to feel. And that you don't have to feel worried about, what that means to you. All right. Because that's all you're doing. You're making her emotions mean something to you. And what does it mean? It just means that she's mad. All right. She's mad at either you. She's mad at the dog. She's mad at the kids. She's mad at her dad. She's mad at her mom. She's mad at somebody. She's mad at God. Who knows what she's mad at? But there's nothing you can do about that. Okay. You try to take her away from being mad about that. All you're doing is just turning her anger towards you. You're trying to connect with her by pissing her off. How much sense does that really make? So stop trying to manipulate the emotions. Accept, sit down, talk with her. If she doesn't want to talk, okay, don't force the matter. Another item that will cause disconnection is the fact that y'all don't talk. Again, that's kind of starts falling in with the apathy. But when you stop talking, that's when the marriage really starts to crumble. That's when roommate syndrome really sets its teeth in the old ass end of your relationship. And when y'all stop talking, y'all are going to start drifting apart even further. not spending intentional time with each other is another item that will come about and disrupt the connection that y'all have. And this is living intentional life, living intentionally with each other. Hey, let's go for a walk at 6:00. Schedule your time if you have to. If y'all haven't done it in a while, then this is a good way to exercise those muscles, because it takes effort to live intentionally. It takes effort to live the life that you want to live. And when you are not scheduling your life, you're going to let anything else come about. So schedule. And when you were dating, y'all scheduled. You scheduled, hey, we're going to go on date night Friday night, 3:00. See you there in the afternoon. We're going to spend the rest of the evening out and about. Get ready for it, kid. We're going to have a good time. That type of stuff. But also scheduling sex, which sounds, I know it's like, oh, but it's supposed to be this impromptu, beautiful thing. Says who? It would be fun, but obviously you've seen y'all aren't having sex, so you need to start trying to at least intentionally try to have sex. When you stop having intentional time together, you're going to find other things to do, and the marriage will eventually start to crumble. Another thing is being an emotional childhood. This is you running around saying, she should be making me happy. No. How is she supposed to do that, man? How is she supposed to make you happy? You don't even know how to make yourself happy. And you're taking the controls and throwing them over to her. Well, you know what I mean. I just want to be able to have Whoopi a little more often. Then tell her that. Again, you've got to start intentionally saying, hey, I would like to, how about next Friday, you and me get naked, Find a way, get used to talking about sex with your wife. Of all people you should be able to talk sex about is your wife. I know, guys, we don't like to talk about sex. That's fine. We have our own personal hangups, but we need to have those conversations. But when we're being an emotional childhood, we sit around and whine and cry that everything else is happening to us. It's throwing us into that victim mindset, and we're not getting what needs to be done, which is having a good, wonderful, beautiful, fulfilled relationship. Another reason is using your wife as a therapist. That is not her job, man. I know society and all the therapists out there like to go, oh, well, you need to be opening up and sharing your emotions with your wife more. No, dude, do not be sharing your emotions more with your wife. It's not that you're not supposed to be emotional around your wife. You can be emotional. If something upsets you, you can cry in front of her. You can cry with her. You can have your emotions. But walking up to her going, well, the boss was mean to me, and I think I felt really anxious the whole time, and I was just emotionally vomit all over her. You're going to wear her out. She needs your masculinity to be able to stay positive for you. And the way she gets your positive masculinity is by giving you her problems during her day. This is why she also likes to talk with you. As she's talking, she's sharing her day, she's taking that emotional negativity and dumping it onto your head. And you're then turning around and going, okay, I'm going to go talk to my guys. So instead of using her as a therapist, use the men in your group, your community, your brotherhood of men. Turn to them for the emotional support. Let them help you out so that you can go back to your wife emotionally positive with that masculine energy, so that you can actually have a good connection with your wife. If you're sitting there trying to just dump on her and use her as your therapist, she's going to get tired of you and she's going to leave, and she is going to shut the door, and you're never going to hear from her again, because that's just not what women are meant to do. And if you're doing any of this and you're trying to figure out, how do I stop? Then, man, best thing to do is to take that next step. I suggest you take the next step, because that next step is reaching out to me, going to relaxedmail.com/coaching offer. And we can sit down together and we will find a solution, and I will help you as you find that shortest route from where you are to where you want to go, and help you have a better marriage, all thanks to the fact that you're not going around trying to fix everything. You're not taking your phone out. You're not worried about phone. You're not worried about the porn, and you're staying away from playing the victim. You start having better communication skills with her. You start having date nights, and those date nights are sacred to you and her. And y'all start talking, sharing each other's lives, becoming very intimate in the details and how you display your love for each other by intentionally spending time with each other and realizing that you are an emotional adult and that you're responsible for your emotions. She's not, you abdicate you absolve her from any and all responsibility of making you happy. You stop being overly critical on things that she does because that's just what you're taking her actions to mean. Start doing that, and you're going to find your life is going better. Your life is going smoother. You're having a better time. You can have that fulfilling life, all because you decided to be intentional with what you're doing with your life, what you're doing with yourself, and how you're thinking. And when you do that by taking that next step, go to relaxmail.com/coaching offer. And we'll sit down and we'll have a discussion. We'll see how we can help each other and what the next steps actually need to be. So if you're interested, please go, and we will see y'all next week. So till then, guys, thanks a lot. Catch you then. Bye.